Welcome along to the latest Saints news and reaction here on the Football Martin channel and the Football Martin podcast. Available to watch on YouTube, available to download wherever you get your pods. Coming up in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at who is in the race to become the Southampton manager, who are the club's targets. We'll also be looking at the latest transfer gossip, one story surrounding Yuki Sugawara and him wanting away from the football club. And I'm also going to be reacting on Stick to Football and the Overlaps show that went out this morning. Gary Neville, Roy Keane and the team speaking about relegation, and Southampton's name came up in that conversation. I'm going to be reacting to what Roy Keane had to say, and it was very, very interesting. Right, let's get to the Saints manager chat now and all the speculation around who is in the race to become the new manager at Southampton Football Club. And it's reported that the club are narrowing down their shortlist on who they want to appoint as their new manager. And some familiar names are being linked with the job. Danny Röhl, obviously his name has been linked for a long period of time. And I'm led to believe, from what I read across social media and people I speak to, that he is very, very keen on the Southampton manager's job. He is very keen to become the new manager. And it's reported that Southampton have him as their number one target. How true that is, I don't know. But it is being reported that he is the number one target. He is the favourite at 8-11 at this moment in time. And there's some other names being linked today to the manager's job. Two of those, ex-England midfielders. Give me your thoughts in the comments box below on these two. Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard are both linked with the Southampton manager's job. I don't for 1 minute see it being Steven Gerrard, and nor do I want it to be Steven Gerrard. I do not want to see Steven Gerrard as the next manager of Southampton Football Club. I just do not see him having enough experience in the Championship to get our club promoted. His next job is a massive job wherever he goes and whatever he does next. He's had that period of time in Saudi after being sacked at Aston Villa. But you look at what Aston Villa have done after the departure of Steven Gerrard with a very similar group of players. Unai Emery totally transformed their football club, the way they play football, the way they set up, the fitness levels, everything about Aston Villa was transformed after he left. So for that reason, I am nowhere near wanting us to go near Steven Gerrard. I laughed out loud when I read that this morning. I think it's a nonsense story. There's maybe somebody trying to get his name linked to managerial jobs, maybe an agent or someone close to him. But not for 1 minute do I believe that Southampton Football Club will be interested in Steven Gerrard. Frank Lampard, maybe. He's doing a decent job at Coventry. It's not long since he took over from Mark Robbins. It was early on this season. He's done a very good job. He's turned them around. They're well in contention now for promotion, playoffs. Can they get it over the line, Coventry? He's done a good job there. And he will be linked to some big jobs, Will Lampard, because of his calibre. He's still, for me, got a bit to do. Would I like to see Frank Lampard at Southampton? I'm not convinced by Lampard, to be quite honest, at this moment in time. The favourite, obviously, is Danny Röhl. I think for me, he's probably still the one that I like to see. There's one other name that's been thrown in the hat today, and I want your reaction in the comments box below, because that's right, Gary O'Neill, the ex-Portsmouth midfielder, is currently in the running to become the Southampton manager, according to reports. His odds have massively shortened to 5-2 to take over the manager's hot seat at St Mary's Stadium. Give me all your reaction. He made over 150 appearances for Portsmouth and has had a period of time down at Bournemouth as manager before he was sacked a season ago last summer, and has recently been with Wolverhampton Wanderers. He was sacked there. 41 years old, decent pedigree at Bournemouth. You would have to say he did a decent job there. Was surprised to see him sacked actually from his role at Bournemouth, but Bournemouth wanted to kick on and they brought in Areola, who's done just magnificent with them. An incredible turnaround at Bournemouth. Yeah, they were doing well. O'Neill set the foundations, but he really kicked them on, their new manager. For me, do I want to see Gary O'Neill, ex-Portsmouth player at Saints? I don't think it'd go down particularly well, to be quite honest. But I've seen a few fans saying that they'd take him. I'm not that keen on him. but I did, and I don't think he'd mind me saying it. Actually, I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to name drop. But I was speaking to a journalist the weekend, a well-respected journalist down here on the South Coast, and he led me to believe if Gary O'Neill was offered the Southampton manager's job, he thought he'd probably take it. Let's wait and see on that one. There looks to be one man out, though, right now, and one man that I quite like the thought of, actually, and I like the link when I saw it last week was Liam Rosenior. It looks like he is not in the running for contention to become the next manager. Sources are saying he's keen not to be taking a job back in England this summer. He seems to be happy at Strasbourg, according to reports. So the current odds to become the next Southampton manager are as follows. Danny Rowe, like I said, was the favourite, 8-11. Gary O'Neill, 5-2. He's the second favourite. In third, we have Will Steele at 4-1. Rob Edwards, his odds have been shortened to 7-1. Sean Dyche, 17-2. Rosenior now is a well outsider at 10-1. David Wagner, he was a man that could potentially be on the list. He's at 16-1. His odds have drifted. Give me your thoughts on all of that in the comments box below. Who do you want to see? Would you like to see Gerrard, Lampard? Are they managers you'd like to see? Potentially at St Mary's next season. But I want to know who is your standout candidate for our next manager. Right, transfer chat now coming up on the channel. Yuki Sugawara reports today across social media that he wants out this summer. And this is not a news story because it was being spoke about weeks ago that Yuki Sugawara, the Japanese fullback, is attracting some interest from some Turkish clubs. I'm not going to start naming the clubs because I'm not very good at pronouncing some of these club names. However, 5 million euros could capture his services and it could be enough to get a deal done, according to reports. That would see Southampton with a loss on the 7 million euros that we paid for him. But it looks like he could potentially move on this summer. It sounds like he is not settled here on the South Coast. And to be fair, his performances have been way short for me. Can he do a job in the Championship? I spoke about it already here on the show. I'm not convinced by him whatsoever. And a little bit of reaction coming up here on the Football Martin show and the Football Martin podcast. I want to give her a little bit of reaction to this because I thought it was a really good clip to share. And they won't mind me sharing this, the overlap, because their latest episode of Stick to Football, Jill Scott, Gary Neville, Roy Keane and Ian Wright were discussing relegation this season in the Premier League. The three sides that got promoted going back down. And Roy Keane and Ian Wright made some really good points in today's show. And here is what they had to say.
The second season in a row, 3 promoted teams will be relegated. Should we be worried?
Absolutely worried.
No, and it's not the fact that they've gone down with such low points and
Look at
victories, goals for, goals against.
If that happens again next season, Gal, then I think the Premier League seriously have to.
I think the teams who've come up there have to make a better effort. I know people. Of course, it's going to be hard to stay up. Of course, I was there with Sunderland. You go up, it's going to be hard. We're overplaying. Southampton certainly at the start of the season. We're caught out to give yourself a bit of a chance.
Yeah.
Imagine if you get beaten week in, we're going, lads, what are we doing so wrong?
Great points by Roy Keane and Ian Wright there. But he spoke about Roy Keane, about being hard to beat. How many times have I said that on the channel? Try and find a way to be hard to beat. But the promoted sides, he's saying they have to make a better job of it. And he's absolutely right. They have to find a way, these teams, to do something different. And you cannot keep going up against sides trying to play out from the back, play this tippy-tappy football. And they went on in the show. You need to watch it. Go check it out on their YouTube page because there's plenty more to this show, plenty more to what they say other than this clip. But Roy Keane brought up that opening day loss against Newcastle, saying that we didn't really give ourselves a chance. And he said how Russell Martin spoke about how we were able to get out X amount of times. But he said the defining moment was an error made from playing out from the back. He said so it doesn't mean anything. And he's absolutely spot on. And I've echoed what Roy Keane has said all season long. You can't continue to play tippy-tappy football against some of the best teams in the league. And Gary Neville actually went on a little bit later on in the show. And again, I had to agree with what he said. He said, and it's a really good point that Gary Neville made. He said that the best teams press and they set traps. And he reckons, and he's right, that teams press now better than they've ever done. They set traps better now than they've ever done. And he said, if you don't have the right personnel, which we don't, you cannot be going to Anfield trying to play out from the back. And he's absolutely spot on. I thought it was a really good show. There's so many lessons to be learned from this season. We know that. But go check out Stick to Football's show on the overlap. It's wow worth it. You could see it in the show notes as well. You can clip to it. It's at the back end of the show, but it's worth watching. I totally recommend it. Right, that's everything I wanted to bring to you on today's show here on the Football Martin channel. Thank you for tuning in. Plenty more coming up in the coming days. I'm going to be sitting down with my dad talking about the West Ham game at the weekend. He's going to give me a little bit of a preview on some of his favourite moments from watching West Ham United over the years. And I want to thank every single one of you for supporting this channel, watching this channel, commenting on this channel and sharing it. It is absolutely phenomenal, the growth that we've seen in the last few months. It's just insane. And if you want to support the channel a little bit more by becoming a member here on YouTube or on Patreon for just £1.99, that £2 can make a massive difference to my channel. I'll give you some exclusive content for that as well, and there'll be some really good bits and bobs coming your way in the summer. Loads of ideas that I'm looking to put together, loads of stuff that I want to bring to you as well. And if you have a business and you'd like to reach a massive audience, I do have some sponsorship options available, so do get in touch, drop me a DM for that. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you again very soon.